Hello, I'm back. Got another musing before I go to bed. Ahead. Um, I I started this journey, and I didn't know how I was going to progress in it. Um, I feel like my musings, they're not like I want to give them another title besides musings or something. Well, not that. I don't want to change it from musings. Like I don't want to call it a podcast because it's not a podcast. Um, I'm not. I don't know what it is, but I want to talk about my journey as a writer. Like the journey is still ongoing. So in this musing, we're gonna talk about that. How did I set about becoming a writer? I I started writing a long time ago. I was given a journal, I believe, as a Christmas present, and it was a heart-shaped journal. Um, it's now gone. It was thrown out. I had a box of stuff in my grandma's house, and my aunt threw it out instead of like shipping it to me. But it is what it is. It's gone. I also had some favorite books in that box. Quite a few other memorabilia. Some probably like a photo album or two. But yeah, she threw it all out. For whatever her reason. I don't really hold it. I don't really hold it against her for anything because that side of the family. Oh, my side, my maternal. Well, I don't know. Maternal, yeah, my mother. My maternal side of the family is kind of. I don't really know my paternal side of the family, but I now know my life is hectic, so it's a lot. So I started my writing journey. I would have to say about fourth or fifth grade by writing in a journal, and I continue writing. Of course, I enjoyed school. It was my little escapism from home. Um, hey Google, stop playing. Um, so I started my journey that long ago. Uh, I wouldn't. I could. I don't think I can pinpoint to earlier times when I started um, writing because I was behind in reading. Um, I didn't really start getting good at reading until probably like when I moved in with my grandma. So I started to get better at writing as I learned more things, and I learned more things as I got older. And sixth grade would happen to be the turning point as I picked up more techniques and learned about different writing styles, and poetry really called to me. And so I wrote a lot of poetry. Once I got into, I wrote papers in middle school, so I was somewhat good at doing that. But writing papers in middle school when I was growing up was kind of, you had to write them by hand. Um, and you had to write neatly, so you had to write really slow. We was almost close to being having to have a printer press. Uh, but no. So printing was definitely different and expensive back then. Um, once I got into high school and I started reading more books, I went to I read a lot of books growing up. But once I got into high school, we had to like delve into the author and what the plot, and figure out what the author is trying to convey. I learned about red herrings, and I want to say, because I got to think of the book I'm looking at. I want to say I initially learned about red herrings in elementary school or middle school. Uh, we were reading either Where the Red Fern Grows or something like that. And so, yeah. So I could point to many different times where writing and reading was beneficial to me. I wrote my first play when I was in 5th grade because they had some program at the elementary school I went to, and I got a ribbon for that. I got 3rd place for that. I was so proud of myself. So yeah, writing has always been impactful, but my journey becoming like taking writing as a dare I say a career of mine in 2018. Yep, I took writing as a career, like took it up, and I started with poetry. 2018 was a very that was a year. That was a very chaotic year. Like the 2 years prior to 2018, hell, chaos was just rampant. But 2018 was an awakening year for myself. It was a year for me to move forward, to progress, to open my eyes even more than they were already. And I decided I was going to write. I didn't know how I was going to start, but that's what I did. The following, I said, this is what I'm going to do. I had to figure out what I was going to do because I was in between a rock and a hard place and figuring out who I was again. I always got to figure out who you are when you get stuck. Or remember who you are. Like, who was I before the military? What did I like to do before I joined the military? And writing was the thing. And I continuously wrote throughout the military. I have journals. I document my life. And sometimes I stopped writing when I was really stressed. But I would always write poetry. And I didn't have a computer, but I did have a notebook. So sometimes I would write in the notebooks that I had. And then from 2018, I continued writing and I organized some poems. And I was like, I don't want to use these poems. I want to make new ones. And I started making new ones. Or I had already started making new ones, but I started making even more new ones. I just kept, when I felt the urge, I would open up my phone and I would get to type in some stuff in there. And I also wrote in my notebooks. And then in late 2019, I started an IG page just for writing. And I was posting nothing but writing. And then after a year, I was like, what do I do with these poems that how do I get them to more people? Like, I wanted more people to see them. I said, I'm going to put them in a book and I'm going to give them out for free. And that's what I did. Like, I either gave out a little card that I made, a business card that had a QR code, that people can find my IG page, where they can read my poems for free. And then I published them into a book. It was 52 poems. And then I purchased those books and I would pass them out. And then people was like, where can I buy one? And I was like, well, you can buy them here if you want. And people started buying them. Strangers started buying them. People I'm acquainted with started buying them. Friends, associates just started buying them. And it made me feel good, and I was still continuing on with year 3, and I got to year 2, and then I got to year 3. And now I'm at year 4. Well, not at year 4. This is 2025. So this is about I haven't written a book or published a book in 2 years, and I have a 4th book coming out. But I am working on some other things, like some long narratives. Of course, my Substack I'm working on. I'm in a writing group. I'm also part of a storytelling group. Like, a lot of things have emerged. I've performed in front of a live audience or 3. I have written an inspired poem for an art gallery open. Like, a whole bunch of things have come alive. I've cried on stage. Didn't mean to do that, but I did. There's so many things. People have been inspired by my words. I mean, it's not hundreds of people, but my great aunt, before she passed, she said I made her a poetry reader. So yeah, I'm in it. I'm in this thing. I'm a writer. The journey hasn't been easy either. People's like, oh, you did all of this. You're so talented. No, I have been in here. I have been in here reading how to do things, learning about margins that I don't remember, and I'm going to go back into YouTube University, which is not like a real place, but you know, it's it's a it's a name. And I'm going to go back in these videos and figure out how to do this again, and I'm going to do it again until I get good at it. I just created a graphic for one of my my Substack podcast things. Like I create, like, that is amazing in itself. Like, I'm learning to use different tools. I'm learning to use Canva even better. At one point I had a website I plan to get back. And I was selling things, but that is a lot. And I give out stickers. I've created stickers. Like, I've done a whole lot of things since I started writing. But my writing adventure has been filled with tears, anxiety, anger, frustration, happiness, joy, elation. It's definitely had low points as well as high points. I've written about people, places, and things that are no longer a part of my life. Wasn't intended to be that way, but hey, that's the way it crumbles. Wow, we've gotten to 12 minutes today. I don't know if that's my longest one, but I really don't intend for these things to go over, like, I would say about 9 minutes. 10 minutes, maybe 11 is really pushing it. But now we're getting up on 13. So, yeah. Well, I guess there's one part of writing that writing I talk about, but I will talk to you guys another time. I'm getting tired. Gotta get up in the morning and be fresh for my daughter. She has a field trip, and I gotta get up, make sure everyone gets off to school, and I get off to school and rest before I get off to school. Well, it's nice chatting with you guys. Thank you for listening. I'll type up a pretty nice blurb for you all concerning this one. And we are now in our 20s of the cast, the Musings. I haven't looked up to see who's watched me yet, but thank you guys for your support. Whoever's listening, you are appreciated. Ciao. Bye.